Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
Well, you may have the worst hand in the world, but you can't give a tell that you have the worst hand in the world, or that you have 4 aces.
Right.
You don't want to scare anybody away. You want to lure them in.
You want the money.
So you don't want anybody reading. They're not saying a word, but they know that everybody's watching each other, and they're wanting to see if their hands are clicking, their knees are jumping up and down, if they start scratching behind their ear, and whatever.
There's something for everybody.
Welcome back to the Scott Townsend Show. Today I have with me Mark McKinnon. We've been getting together now for probably 12 or 14 episodes, about 57 pieces of advice I would tell my younger self. And Mark, how's it going?
Great.
Are you doing great today?
Doing awesome.
What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I had a sausage pocket with gravy over it at my donut shop. And it was good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, Scott, let's break off to 57 today. Let's talk about setting up a system in your life.
You want to break away from 57?
Well, I think this is something we would do. It would probably be number 58.
Okay. Let's do this. We'll knock one out like real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll jump to what you want to talk
All right.
about.
Sounds good.
So pick a number between 1 and 57. Which is, and I always ask Mark
42.
to do this. 42. So 42. Did we already do this one?
What is
Listen
it?
with your eyes?
No, we didn't.
No.
No, we haven't.
So listen with your eyes.
Wow. So tell me about that.
So, piece of advice I would tell my younger self: listen with your eyes and take in what it is the person in front of you is saying. 30% of communication is verbal. 60 to 70% of communication is nonverbal. So that means, what is that? That's listening to the tone. That's looking at body language. That's looking at eye contact. And so when you listen with your eyes, you're taking in what the person's saying, but you're also taking in how the person is sitting. Do they look agitated? Are they happy? Is what they're saying matching up with how their posture is? They might say they're having a great day, but they're all slumped over.
Yeah.
And not looking like they're having a great day. So listen with your eyes, listen to what's being said with your ears, but even more than that, listen with your eyes, watch the person that's speaking to you, because they're going to say something, but really what their body language is telling you is volumes more. And you can tell when someone's probably lying. You can tell when someone's they're saying the words, but they might be having a hard time saying the words. So it's just watching the person that you're talking or visiting with, listening. We've talked about listening before with your ears, of course, but listening with your eyes is so much more. It's like a detective. You get the guy, you book him, you put him in the room, table, one light, 2 chairs. Detective sits over there, suspect sits over here. Detective asks a question. He wants to hear what the suspect has to say, but he's also watching that suspect to see how he says it. Watching his body. Is he squirming? Is he fidgeting? Does it look like you've hit on something that you've hit a nerve, And so you start digging a little more into that. So, in life, you're just a detective, and you're wanting to find out how your wife's doing, how your kids are doing. They can say, yeah, great, everything's fine, but, if they walk around the house with their head hung down and it seems like they're arguing with each other, or they have a stern look on their face, or they won't look you in the eye when they're talking. something's up,
Right.
and so that helps you know what kind of questions to ask and help relate to the person that you're visiting with. Long answer, but
No, but it's a good answer. I mean, it's the right answer. I was listening just to a news podcast, whatever you want to call it. There was a guy on there. His profession is the guy that you pay money to do exactly that. He comes in. He'll view video, or he'll be in a courtroom, or he'll be in wherever he's at. And by just looking at someone's posture, the way they do things, they call them tells.
Yeah, tells. It's a tell.
Tell. And he began to describe. They were talking about a video, which I had watched, and one guy began to ask him, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, that means that they're lying. He says that means that they're in defensive mode. There's just certain things you do that speak volumes. Now, what that does for me is that makes me think. It's why it's so important not to be, because there's an art to listening. You know that one. I mean, there's an art to doing it. Not many people do it very well. And the reason that that's so good is because if you listen with your eyes, you won't be processing with your head, which means you won't miss half of what's going on. Lots of times when we're communicating, I'm thinking about what my response would be or what my idea is about what you're telling me. And so I'm missing that you're discouraged, or I'm missing that you're in a high stress situation. I miss the fact that you're not telling me the truth, because I'm trying to get ready to respond. So listening to your eyes will cause you to be a way better listener.
Ever asked your wife, how's it going? She goes, fine. And she says fine. Mm-hmm. The word is fine.
Yeah, but it's like...
But you're looking at her and you can tell...
Sure. What's really going on?
No, and then, oh, no, everything's fine, Come on, just tell me what's going on. Well, and then here we go. Mm-hmm. Well, and how'd you know that?
Happened.
Because you saw that the look on their face, or the whatever,
Yeah, you really can't hide your emotions. Your emotions and what you're feeling really come out in those tells when you're talking to someone. You know what I mean?
Speaking of tells, if you watch a professional poker match,
yes,
and they got their sunglasses on because they don't want anybody looking at their eyes, and they're stone-faced. They've practiced not giving it. You may have the worst hand in the world, but you can't give a tell that you have the worst hand in the world, or that you have 4 aces.
Right.
You don't want to scare anybody away. You want to lure them in.
You want the money.
So you don't want anybody reading. They're not saying a word, but they know that everybody's watching each other, and they're wanting to see if their hands are clicking, their knees are jumping up and down, if they start scratching behind their ear, and whatever.
There's something for everybody. When Denise is upset, or mad, she does something she doesn't even know she does it. She'll when we're talking, she'll go,
oh yeah,
and she'll go. What I'm doing is rubbing my fingers across my mouth and pulling down. She does it, and she doesn't even know she's doing it. But every time that she's upset, that's what she's doing. Yeah. And so I'm like,
that's her tell.
Okay, something's not right. And she's not telling me not something right. But I look at that and I go, something's bothering her, and I'll go to her. Well, what is it? What's wrong with you? And sometimes, and people aren't always willing to divulge their inner secrets. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you need to be good at tells. You need to be able to spot things about folks that tell you something about them.
And your intuition is probably right. You might realize, that person's not being forthright with me. They're not giving it all, or what's the word? They're
divulging the truth. They're not giving out. They're not.
Yeah, they're holding back or
Sure.
something. You can tell something just by looking. So pay attention to that, because you're probably right.
You are probably right.
Yeah.
So that's something we need to do. We need to be good at, even with friends, like you said, with our wives, especially with our kids,
spouses,
kids,
yeah,
employees.
Oh yeah.
Just there's, because you can even see tension.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You can see it. It's visible to the naked eye. You can look and tell that someone is they're uptight, they're stressed. You can look at their body, like you said, Scott, which is really good. You look at them, you can tell they got something going on in their life, because they're holding themselves in a different way. So interesting.
So there you go. Yeah. Listen with your eyes.
Thank you for joining the Scott Townsend Show. We'll be back right after this.
Pop's Daylight Donuts, man, they've got the best tasting donuts, sausage wraps, pastries in Northeast Oklahoma. And also, if you'll tell the staff there, hey, Scott Townsend said to give me a large spicy pig, they'll give you a free large spicy sausage wrap. But you have to tell them Scott Townsend sent you. So tell them, hey, Scott Townsend told me to tell you to give me a large spicy pig. So there's the offer. There's the call to action. So go to Pop's Daylight Donuts. Say hi to Mark for me. And go to Pop's Daylight Donuts and get you some. The other sponsor is Castafly Outdoor Adventures.
Adventure. That's where it begins. We look to create and document our moments in time while embracing the majestic wonder and beauty of the great outdoors. Our quest is to explore the back roads of the Ozarks, camping, fishing, and just getting lost. Refresh your spirit and join us on our next adventure.
Paul and his crew invite you to subscribe to the Castafly Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. We were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, this book I was reading by Scott Adams. I wish I could remember the name.
Maybe you can find the name.
I'll look it up later and say, while you're talking, I'll look it up. But
sure.
Anyway, he said something in the book that really interested me. He said that goals are for losers, and that really what you need to have are systems in place so that you meet your goals. If you just stop at saying, I have a goal to travel around the world, his point is that's for losers. Unless you have a system in place that will help you get to that goal. Otherwise, it's just you're just going to have a goal, and what's that? That's nothing.
It's nothing. There's no substance to a goal. A goal is something that you set out in front of you. We were talking about this over lunch about how systems work and function, and how it's so important to get a system for whatever it is that you want in life. Denise just started, she's been a writer her whole life, and written for the newspaper for 11 years, and for 11 years I've been telling her, you know what, you could write books. She even came up with 4 or 5 titles to books she wanted to write. There was a goal. But here we sit 11 years later, and she doesn't have a book. But now last week she put a system in place. And so what she did was, first she went and she bought the necessary stuff for the computer to write, logged it onto the computer, and then she made the decision that she would write 1 hour a day, every day. Now, here's what I know. It's no longer a goal. It's a reality. because she's going to write an hour a day, and before you know it, she'll have her first book, and then she'll have her second book, then she'll have her third book. But without a system in place, that would have just been something that she wished she would have done. So Scott and I were talking about the fact, I'm thinking about younger men and thinking, you want a car or you want a hot rod or whatever you want. Well, get a system in place so you can get a car, a hot rod, or whatever you want. Start putting $10.
You can have it.
You can have it. It's doable. Get a system in place. Get something in place so that you can give your children all that you want them to have when they grow old. Well, what do you mean, Mark? I mean, so your child is born, so you decide I'm going to put $10 a week in the bank until there's no more, until they grow up. Well, you do that, and then you get to the place where they need money. And what's the deal? It's not a goal; it's a reality, because you put a system in place. Now
Right.
you've got money to draw out to do what it is that you dreamed that you could do, the goal that you wanted to set.
You can have your dream vacation.
Yes.
You can't. We're not saying that you can have it all, but you can have a lot
No,
of
but
it.
you can have a lot of it. You can just here's what you can do. You can have as much as you're willing to do. If you're willing to go big, you can go big.
Yeah.
If you're willing to go small, you can go small.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really up to you.
Up to your system, whatever.
It's what your system is. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
I decided when I was probably, I think I was 37 the first time I decided I was going to travel the world, and I've traveled the world. I've been to, I don't know how many countries. I've been on at least 20 mission trips. I've been all over the world, seen things. A lot of that was money out of my own pocket, money out of my own business. But I had a system, how I was going to do that, how we were going to set the money up, when we were going to go, how much I needed to set aside, so that when the time came, I had the money in place and was ready and paid for my tickets and went on to where I went. I had a system. I wanted to give so much money to each minister. I had a system. I raised the money. I put it into an account. I set it up. When I got there, I handed them the money. It wasn't a goal anymore. It was a system, but it all came to pass because of that. Now, I'm not perfect. I wish I had done that with my kids. I didn't in certain areas, but I did with my granddaughters. Started a system to help them out when they get older. Because I think about this, and here's the truth now, okay? My son's in-laws are very wealthy. They're gonna have a trust fund. They're gonna have a lot of things from them. So it almost made me feel like, well, what am I going to give them? What can I do? And so that you're almost defeated, like we just talked about. But I can do something.
Right.
It may not be as big as what they can do, but I can do something by setting up a system. When I have a successful marriage, you need a system. To be a successful parent, you need to have a system. Right?
You want to be a good employee, you got to have a system.
You want to own a business, you got to have a system. How am I going to get there? Not sit back for the next 10 years and dream about what's going to happen. No, you start doing the things today that you need to do to achieve your goal.
So I looked up that book, and the book's How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big.
Wow. What a title.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you just have a goal, then I guess you're a loser. But if you have a goal and then you turn around and say, okay, now here's the systems I'm going to put in place, and I know these will change over time as I discover what works and what doesn't. But these are the systems that I put in place so that I can meet that goal. Whether it's getting rid of weight, whether it's building muscle, whether it's relationships, financial, emotional, physical, spiritual. Just get you a system in place and be consistent with the system.
Good
It's as simple as
intentions.
that.
Good intentions get you what? Nothing.
My dad used to say, "Hell's
Zero.
full of people with good intentions."
Right. Good intentions get you zero. But you know what they make you do? They make you feel good because you talk about the intentions you have.
Right.
But then you get somewhere and you got nothing.
Got nothing.
I got zero.
Like, I think it'd be fun to go on a cruise.
Yeah. So what are you going to do?
So, what kind of cruise is it?
What kind of cruise?
How long are you going to go?
How much does it cost?
How much does it cost?
How much time do I need off?
How much time do you need off? How much money you got to save over time?
What's my system?
What's the system?
Well,
Put it
like-
in place, and then you know what? Chances are great
No,
that
you're gonna
you'll be
go.
on a boat somewhere.
Well, it's like you told me, Scott, at the beginning. You said You read a lot more. You read more books than a lot of people, and you do. But you told me how you do it. You have a system. So you take the book, you divide the pages by 7 days, and you tell yourself, okay, I need to read 44 pages a day for 7 days, and I will have read this book.
So the book actually, and so with the system in place, the book doesn't read itself.
No.
But by the time you get to Saturday,
Yeah,
it's done.
it's done. And
You don't even have to say, "Wow, how did I get here?" You know.
and how many? I can tell you how many times I've set a goal. I'm going to read that book, and guess what? I'm still going to read that book. I haven't read it yet because I haven't decided to set a system up so that I could read it systematically. So I'll get to the end and I'll go, oh, I read that.
Yeah.
I read that.
And you don't, and two, maybe that goal really isn't a goal for you.
Sure.
Maybe
Sure.
you think that sounds good, but you're not that interested in
Sure.
reading the book. So
Sure.
sometimes it's good to just admit, you know what, I don't want to read a book.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid personally, but
Right.
you don't set a goal because of what you think other people want you to do. Set your goals based on what it is you want out of life. Figure out, divide it up, split it up, however, figure out how to get there, and then don't worry about going on the cruise. Just focus on setting up a bank account, putting in so much money per however, whatever.
Sure.
Do a little bit of research, not all in one day.
Right.
And before you know it, now you might get on a cruise earlier.
Sure.
It might be a month or two
Sure.
longer than what you thought.
But you're going to get there.
But you're going to get there.
Yeah. I have a system. I have a system in the donut shop. I needed to get a system because whenever I would think about how much something was going to cost, sometimes it would be a little overwhelming to me. But I got this system in place about 3 years ago. So here's what I do. How many dozen donuts a day is that? That's exact. When I know how much something's going to cost me, I take that and I go, okay, how many dozen donuts do I have to sell every day to pay for that? It's amazing how attainable it is when I break it into small. Okay, it's going to cost me 5 dozen a day. Oh, I can do that easy. 5 dozen donuts?
Right.
5 extra dozen donuts a day is going to buy that for me? Done. I'm going to do that. No problem. That's my system. And it takes all the it takes all that stress out of it. Unknown. It just I know that I can control that much. So I control what I can to get where I need to get to, and that's a system. That's a system for me in place, and it just makes things easier because sometimes you hear someone say, "Well, it's going to cost you $2,000 a year." That's like a lot of money. But then I break that down into the donuts, and it's okay. So it's costing me 2 dozen donuts every day for the whole year. Oh, big deal.
Yeah.
I can do that, no problem.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Goals are for losers, but if you have a goal and then set a system in place, you're a winner.
Name that book again one more time. What's the name of that book?
The name of the book is How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by
Wow.
Scott Adams,
I like that. I
the
gotta read that
Dilbert
book.
creator.
I need to read that book.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, go on.
Well, for Mark McKinnon, thanks for joining us. For Mark McKinnon, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for joining the Scott Townsend Show. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.